Hey you, welcome back. It's your girl, L to the D to the L to the D to the L to the D to the La Dessa. I wish there was a way I could remix that. Help me with that. Help me work on that. Anyway, how you doing? What's good? Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at you, looking at me, and I started feeling me. Anyway, we are here to talk about Love Is Season 1, Episode 6, Supportive. Okay, to the 28 people that watched last week's review, thank you. Because that thing was horrible. I wasn't really prepared. I was operating off of memory. I didn't have any real notes, but I felt like, well, I started it, so I need to finish it. I feel like there's a gap in my bang. Started reviewing the show, and yeah, so okay, so the problem with this bang is because it's curly, I felt like I could just keep clipping it, and right in here I clipped more than I should have. So there's a issue with the bang sitting how I wanted to sit. Anyway, so I thank you, whoever those 28 people were, and I'm sure 8 of them was probably my husband trying to be supportive, but it was horrible. So we'll do like a little wrap up on episode 5 and get into episode 6. So lightning round. Nuri went on the ski trip. Keith said he was gay. He did mushrooms. Then he tried to say he wasn't gay and he was just playing it off because Nuri didn't want to give him any butt. Nuri and Yasir had a fight because Nuri went on the ski trip. Yasir had left Nuri a note. She didn't see it. And then she went over to Ruby's house to look for him after she finally saw the note. Ruby came to the door and they had an exchange, but Ruby doesn't know what Nuri looks like. So the exchange was just to trigger us. And at the end, when Nuri drove around town looking for Yasir, Yasir shows up at her house after they had their fight because, again, Yasir is mad that Nuri went on the ski trip with Keith and didn't care that she didn't sleep with him, because the point was you shouldn't have took your to the ski trip. You should have been faithful to your man and just let him work through the things that he's trying to work out. Nuri had a rule that she wasn't going to sleep with a man inside of her home until she was married to him. She gave that rule up because she's in love with Yasir. She gave him some butt. Here we go. Episode 6. That's the gist of it. So I hope that little lightning round was redemptive and now supportive. Yasir and Nuri are now like in full swing. They're together. That's our man. And the last scene of episode 5, they had this wonderful love-making scene, and it was just amazing. So they wake up in bed with Tamia, I'm So Into You playing, and the cinematography is great because there's curtains on the window, sheer curtains on the window, or window dressings on the window, and the sun is kind of lightly shining through. They're having a little romantic banter about how great the sex was and how many O's that Yasir was able to give Nuri. And they like play back and forth or whatever. And then it's time for Nuri to get ready for work. And okay, so look now. She has on this little negligee or nightie long to the floor, and Yasir tells her, wear that to work. And she's like, what? Why do you want me to wear that? Because it has your scent on it? He's like, pretty much. And I'm just like, did she bathe? Or is it just because they were, you know, loving up on each other? I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, did you bathe? So he does for her Catch now, he does for her what he did for Ruby in helping her pick out her clothes. He tells her to wear the negligee to work, put a t-shirt on underneath it, and throw on some Converse. It actually was really, really cute, except he told her not to wear a bra. So she gets to work and her, you know, beams is on. And everybody's kind of looking at her because, you know, she got that fresh love, freshly glow about her, and her headlights are on. So Angela kind of ribs her about it and tells her, you know, come on now, you running out, but you don't have time to fix this because you're already late for work. But she runs down to wardrobe and grabs a coat, and then they get into their meeting that they had with Norman, who was the showrunner or director of the show Marvin that they all work on. Now, if you've ever been like freshly into the thing, you know you make a lot of allowances for that relationship, and it kind of interrupts your everyday flow, like work. You kind of be like sick when you're not supposed to be for work because you just want to lay up and spoon and, you know, make tacos in your man t-shirt, that type of deal. And so Norman says to Nuri, this is the 4th time that you've been late. 6 more times, which is 10, and you out of here. So he tells his assistant to mark her tardy again. So they are having a conversation about the Wendy episode, which is the character that they want to shine light on that's within the show Marvin, the female character show. And they kind of briefly talked about Wendy. I think it was in episode 4. And so while they're talking, Norman lets them know that he had, you know, a script lineup for each of them to have, and unfortunately the script lineup that he had was out of sync, and rather than giving this episode script to Nuri, he has to give it to Angela because Angela negotiated 2 scripts in her contract. Come on now. Angela knows exactly what she wants, and this tomfoolery and coonery that she's doing right now is because, you know, you got to crawl before you walk. And so she's crawling, but she's smart. She has an end game. And so Norman tells her, well, Angela, it's your script, and then you let me know after you've had some time to think about it on whether or not you want Nuri to write with you. Well, Nuri is like, yes, that's what's up. Me and my girl about to write an episode. We about to have, you know, writing credits on a script. And Angela's like, no. And I don't appreciate Norman putting me in a position where I have to tell my girl no. And Nuri is like, what the Wednesday is going on? This, you know, we in this thing together. And Angela tells her succinctly, this is business. You are my girl, but you are not my writing partner. And this discussion that we're having, our agents probably need to be having it, because it's not about what you desire. It's about what you negotiate. And check. And scene. So Nuri is all in her body now because she is not she's not able to separate friendship from business. And it's not Angela's fault that Nuri didn't bring negotiation of what she really wanted to the table when she got this job. So let me go back to my notes. I took thorough notes this time. So the day is done, and they're in the scene before the day is done, they're in the writer's room, and everybody's kind of looking at Nuri like, there's something going on with you. What's new? And Nuri just flat out says, I got a man. And the little PA that was in the room, that Nuri was messing with, was in the writer's room passing out scripts to everybody, and everybody starts ribbing her about her, fooling around with the little PA. And apparently it's wide known that she was dealing with Keith. So one of the writers says, well, I thought you were dealing with Keith. And Nuri was like, no, he is not my man. He was never my man. I have a man now, and his name is Yasir. And everybody's like, oh, okay, all right now. But now we see why you got that glow. But Nuri is still in her body. And Norman is like, is everything good? And who's writing the script? And that's when Angela tells him, it's my script, I'm writing it, basically. And he does a little temper check on Nuri, and she's like, I'm fine, but you know what that fine mean. Like, I mean, I'm fine, but I ain't. So they have a little banter about that. It's the end of the day, and Yasir is driving Nuri's car. So I'm in a little group that talks about this show, and all of the ladies were like, what, he ain't got no job and he driving her car? Look, we all been there. The side effects of the D. I'm not saying, I'm just saying we've all been there where we've made allowances that we normally wouldn't make. And that was one of the allowances that Nuri did with Yasir not having a job and not having a car. He got to drive her car and pick her up from work. And somebody made a comment that, well, he's sitting around at home all day without no job and he driving her car. We don't know if this man is looking for a job. And he is way too manly. He is out trying to do something. I'm hoping sell cans, work down to the Home Depot, something, Yasir. Come on now. So he can tell that Nuri has a little bit of a tude, and he's thinking that she is embarrassed because he pulled up driving her car. And she's like, no, I'm not embarrassed. I told everybody about our relationship. I just don't want them all in our business. So he says, well, if you don't want them in our business, why did you tell everybody? And she's like, look, I wore my underwear to work for you and they all laughed at me. So, you know, we don't have no issue, and this issue is not about me and you, but I don't want the impression of that, you know, you're trying to take advantage of me or you're just some guy that I'm dating. You're my man. So that was, I liked that. And then she brings it to his attention. What she's really mad about is that Angela got the script and didn't want to bring her in. And he's like, you know what? A good idea or a good release for me is going to the movie. So let's go to the movie. She's all in. So then it cuts to Keith. He is like hanging out at a bar. And this guy pulls up on him. And he's like slowly just trying to put the moves on Keith. And he kind of reads Keith for who he is. And he calls Keith out for not really ordering a drink. He just has like some club soda. And he says to him, you can really tell a lot about a person by what they drink. And so that's why he kind of reads Keith for who he is. And so when Keith says, well, what does my drink say about me? He says that you're probably a non-drinker because when you drink, the real you comes out. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. That's not the exact line. And Keith is kind of like, how you know? Because on the ski trip, Keith did mushrooms. And that's when he told Nuri that he was gay. So it was like a scene. This scene was full of thought-provoking messages for Keith. So the guy is they're talking back and forth, and so then Keith says, well, what does your drink say about you? Because he's drinking a cab. And he says, it doesn't say anything about me. I just, I like it. This is what I like to drink. So that was really cute how he just kind of played it really cool. But you could tell that they were, he was trying to put the moves on Keith. And then here come Angela across the room. Sorry, my bracelets are probably making a lot of noise. Let me take them off. Sorry about that. Angela's across the room and she yells, Keith. And then the guy, he kind of like feels a little like dejected or disappointed. It was like, your friend can take my place. And he was like, I have to get to work anyway. But he drops his addy about where his job is, just in case Keith would want to pick up on it. So Keith and Angela are at the bar now talking, and they're talking about, if you're not familiar with it, the term black tax. And the black tax is kind of where, you know, black people feel like they have to work 10 times harder, showcase a lot more than, say, their counterparts, and they have to do a lot of shucking and jiving just to finally get to where they want to be. And then for somebody like Keith, who is in a position of power, he still doesn't really have the power that he desires to have. He's just the face for the black people to have to answer to, pretty much. Like, Keith gone and be in charge of them, that kind of thing. So they have that little conversation. And Keith asked Angela, well, why are you on this part of town? She was like, well, I wanted to go to this silent film festival. So they have the little banter. They head outside and they go to the movie. And it's the same movie that Nuri and Yasir are in. And there's Yasir and Nuri have like a little banter about her talking during the silent movie. And Nuri is like, well, I thought we were going to see Love Jones. I was like, see, I told y'all in episode 3 that Mara was trying to give us some Love Jones vibes. So they had to drop the little title of the movie in there. I see you, Mara. I see you. And so Nuri is talking during the silent movie, and Angela turns around and basically trying to tell her to shut up. And then that's where she sees Angela and Keith at the movies together. And so Angela is like, what's done is done at work. But Nuri still has an attitude about the script. And Angela thinks that Nuri is mad about her being with Keith. And Angela's like, hey, you know, I wouldn't break the girl code. Like, I don't want him. It ain't even, nobody wanted Keith but you. And she was like, I don't want him. I got a man. Because she's still in her body about this writing gig. And so then Angela was like, you know what? You got a problem. I don't have a problem. You sit with that. I'm out of here. So while they, all of this is happening because Angela and Nuri go to the bathroom together. And so while Angela and Nuri are in the bathroom, Keith and Yasir are talking, and Yasir kind of digs at him a little bit and says that, you know, they're probably talking about you. And Keith says, well, they're probably talking about you. And Yasir's like, no, they're talking about you because you dated them both. And Keith does not correct, Keith. Excuse me, Keith doesn't correct Yasir, letting them know that they're not on a date. And part of the reason, go back a little bit, part of the reason that Nuri is mad, not only about the script, but also that Yasir is not like on her side, because he's very complimentary to Angela, telling her how beautiful she is. When they were formally introduced, Angela reached her hand out to shake his hand. And Yasir was like, no, we don't shake hands, we hug, sis. So, you know, what I'm trying to say, Nuri is like, hey, I'm mad, we mad. So why are you speaking to her? But, you know, he's just, Yasir is just a good guy. So anyway, back to Keith and Yasir. They're talking, and then they just kind of, you know, vibe, because Yasir's like place is solid now, and you missed out, brother. And I could see why you was, you know, trying to push up on my girl. She is something special, but yeah, this all me. This all me, bro. And then they have that black tax conversation, and it's like really, it was really cool and mature to see these two men that have an interest in this woman, to just kind of, you know, everybody grown. So that was really cool. So after that, you know, they just go on home. Everybody goes their own separate ways. So what else happens? So they're at home, and again, Yasir and Nuri are back at Nuri's house, and Nuri is still in her body, and Yasir is like, what is your problem? Like, I can go home if you need to kind of like chill it, you know, whatever. And she's like, no, I just don't want Angela to get HIV. And he's like, what? She's like, yeah, Keith is gay. He told me on the ski trip. And he checks her, and he's like, what are you talking about? She was like, well, I heard that The increased rate of HIV in black women is because it's brothers like Keith that's on the down low. And she's like, I'm just going to tell her in the morning. He's like, no, you are not getting ready to out this brother to her. You need to basically, you need to check yourself, because you telling her is not about trying to save her life. You trying to get her back because you mad at her, and you need to pull that together. So your decision making needs to go like this. You can tell Angela who Keith is, or you can show her who you are. Like, suck it up and pull that thing together. So there's just a like really kind of quick scene where they're interchanging days, where each day Yasir is asking her, how was work? How was work? How was, and her answer is just real short and curt, fine, fine, fine. And he's just giving her the space that she needs to kind of get out of that funk and kind of be a brat. And I love how in these very poignant scenes where they're getting to know each other, and Yasir is uncovering and pulling back the layers of who Nuri is, they cut to the older versions of themselves. And Yasir, the older version of Yasir, says, I just needed her to know that I was a safe place for her to land. And I really enjoyed her. Matter of fact, he says, I liked, and then he said, I loved the fact that she needed me. And I just was like, I love them. I love them. So we're all back in the writing room, and Angela is presenting her script to Marvin and the rest of the writing staff and Norman. And it's very important to Angela to, you know, she's doing this gig or whatever, but her goal is to write something very powerful and dramatic and meaningful. And so in the script that she's presenting, she wants to bring up the fact that Wendy's mother has cancer, to kind of touch on something serious, even though this is a comedy. And Marvin is like, this is the lead character of the show. Marvin's like, that's whack. We need to give, you know, we need like a joke, a punchline or something. And then all of the writers start shucking and jiving and cooning and like, well, we don't have to give her cancer. Let's give her the gout. And then Angela says, well, if she has gout, why would she be, you know, why would she have to leave town to go see her mom? Cancer is more of a reason for, you know, you to jet off and go take care of your family. And so then the running joke and the punchline of the show is, Mama, I'm on my way. My mama got the gout. She can't walk. I'm coming with the skateboard. Mama, I'm on my way. My mama thirsty. Mama, don't worry, I got the Kool-Aid. I'm on my way. So just little coonery stuff like that was happening in the writing room. And, you know, I consider myself pretty intellectual in my thinking and in my... Okay, it cut off. The Sony cameras, there you go. But anyway, what I was trying to say is I consider myself pretty, you know, well-rounded and educated. And there's only a level of like cooning I can deal with, which is why I don't watch reality TV. But I do keep up with it on the blogs, and I watch like reviews on YouTube. But I still feel like I have room to kind of turn my nose up because I don't physically watch it. I just can't with the... I can't. I don't watch reality TV of any kind. White people, black people, you know, eating ants. None of it. I just can't with the foolishness. But anyway, I'm saying all that to say, like, that scene just like really irritated me and kind of got in my craw of intelligentsia. But I understood and I understand the situations that people of color have to put themselves in when they're trying to get their bones and get their pay and their weight up in an industry that's predominantly white, basically, and having to deal with white people's ideas of what other cultures should be. Oh, one thing that was very important and I really appreciated in the scene where Yasir had to check Nuri about her trying to get back at Angela, and she made the comment about down low brothers giving black women HIV or whatever. And so she was trying to say it that it was under the guise of her trying to help her friend. He was like, you trying to help your friend by being homophobic? Like, he really checked her, and I really appreciated that, because they speak about his religious beliefs, which he's a Muslim, and he's real manly, in his approach to life and his thinking. And so it would give the impression that maybe he didn't agree with homosexuality, but he's so mature and so just well-rounded in his thoughts and his being that I really appreciated. I really, really appreciated him checking her irrational and disrespectful thinking. Not that there wasn't some fact rooted in her statement, but it wasn't pure. You see what I'm saying? So I appreciated that scene. So shout out to you, Mrs. Akil, Mara, that is, for that scene. So where are we at now? So while Marvin and all the coonery is going on, where they shoot down Angela's script, the showrunner Norman shoots it over to Nuri and says, well, do you have any ideas? And Nuri is like, I like the gout joke, but if we're really going to be a show about, substance where we can be, why stick to one joke when we can be more profound in our delivery as it relates to comedy? Because comedy is relatable to everybody, and you can still drop some serious notes and thought-provoking situations into a comedy. So I appreciated that Nuri, she had pulled herself together and got out of her body and showed Angela who she was, and that's her girl. So after the whole writing room thing, Nuri and Angela are in the bathroom, and Angela is expressing like her frustration about what happened and how she appreciated Nuri, having her back. And she's like, look, I don't want to put my name on this coonery. You want the script. And Nuri her knee-jerk reaction was like, I mean, I don't want to take advantage, but if you gonna hook a sister up, then let me get my pen together. And then she pulls herself together and she's like, nope, this is about you. This is your time to shine. This is your script, and I got your back. No matter what it is. So I really appreciated that moment, and I appreciated that they showcased where friendships can get a little rocky when you feel like, Nuri felt she was kind of deserving of that. And so I appreciated them showing her having to kind of just pull herself out of that rut, and then also showing Yasir accepting of her little bratty moments and him walking her through those moments. And I liked how when he said I can go home, like basically go back to Ruby's house, Nuri was like, now hold on now. I mean, I'm upset, but I don't need you going back over there to that woman house. I'm ad-libbing. That's not what she said, but you feel me. You let me be mad and you sit your tail right here and deal with my temper tantrum. So that was really cool. And then the final scene is Nuri and Yasir. They're back at home, and Yasir is looking for his cigarettes because he's still smoking. And Nuri says to him, they're like playing around and he's chasing her around the house, and he's like, look, where's my smokes? Because she hid them. And she's like, no, I want to help you stop smoking just like you helped me and was supportive for me in my situation with Angela. And then that was the end of the show. So this show is still 10s across the board, and you need to be watching it. Do not let this, I say this every review, do not let this only be a one season show. If you're on Facebook and you're watching this, get into the group. I'm gonna tell you the name of the group. Hold on. It is called Unpacking and Processing Love Is. with underscore. So if you're watching the show, get into this group. The dialogue and the conversations during the episodes are really, really good. And it doesn't seem to be like a closed group. You just have to request to join. Whoever the administrators are will let you in. And we can talk there too. But I want you to talk to me personally down in the comment section. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Please subscribe and turn your notification bell on. Always remember to pack light, because bag lady, bag man, you and me too, gonna hurt your back dragging all them bags like that. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. And as always remember to pack light, because bag lady, bag man, you, me too, gonna drag. Hey, how you doing? Welcome back. Well, that was whack.